And with that, I would like to introduce Bloodborne. So hey there guys, how have you guys been? It's OMG Re-Up here. I just want to start off by saying, I'm sorry I haven't been posting videos in a while. I've been super busy, but I have still been playing faithfully. I have gotten numerous games and played numerous games. I just haven't had the time to create walkthroughs on them, but I have still been playing. So with that being said, I do apologize, and hopefully this guide right here will make up for my absence. Over the last few months, I have been really wanting to do a guide lately, and I just couldn't find the right game. Like, I do have a few. I won't go into detail right this second, but basically, I heard about this game Bloodborne through a friend, and he was saying that it was like a Dark Souls title. And I'm a huge fan of Dark Souls, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. So I ended up picking it up, and man, was I surprised. I actually played through and beat the whole thing and did all the extra stuff, and it was awesome. So I figured what I would do is it would be great to make a walkthrough to this game, especially with the upcoming Dark Souls 3 coming out, and the new Bloodborne DLC coming out as well in a few months. So, yeah. I figured it would be appropriate, and plus I love this game. It's a ton of fun, and yeah, it's just, I just enjoy playing it. I beat it once, and I'm definitely not done with it yet. So I figured I'd give it another shot. Maybe do, a little bit better this time around. But yeah, now that we've covered all that, I would like to get started right away. So I'm going to be doing the majority of this game, well, all of this game in offline mode, because I'm on a new account, so I don't have PlayStation Plus yet. But also, just for gameplay purposes, I find the challenge is much better when you're doing it solo. For those of you that need help, can always do the co-op. But hopefully I can give some pretty good strategies and level recommendations throughout the game as we progress. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into it.
Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. First, you'll need a contract.
Alright, so we made it to our character creation screen. Now I'm going to quickly go over the basics of character creation. For those of you who have played the Dark Souls series, it's kind of similar, but completely different, if that makes any sense. So let's see. Okay, so yeah, after you do the basics, enter your name, gender, age, you can actually go to your origin, and from here, you can choose between different origins, and they're not as important as in Dark Souls, whereas it predetermined your character, whether you wanted to be a mage or something. It kind of like sets you off in the right direction, but it's even more or less significant than it was in Dark Souls, because even in Dark Souls it was kind of insignificant, but at least they had some skills, to go along with it. Um, but yeah, for this, you just want to kind of glance over. You got the Melquitost, however you say that, lone survivor, troubled childhood, violent past, professional, military veteran, noble scion, cruel fate, and waste of skin. So over on the right, you will see your stats, and for each different class, I'm going to refer to these as classes, the origins. Um, you're going to have different stats. So in order to kind of give you guys some insight on what those stats mean, starting at the top right, it says level. That's the level you start off at. Then you get blood echoes. Now blood echoes are new, and for those of you Dark Souls fans that are coming to Bloodborne, they are the exact same thing as souls. So think of blood echoes as souls. Vitality, that's your health. Endurance is your stamina. Strength, for those of you wanting to use heavier weapons, but more importantly, strength is a lot more important in this game than it was in Dark Souls. Because specifically in Dark Souls, if you were trying to go with light weapons, you just wanted to focus on dexterity, not really worry about strength. Well, in this game, having high strength is very good because it adds weapon damage. So it's really good to level them up evenly, unless you want to be a pure, you know. But it will boost your weapon damage, and it also plays small roles such as how many times you can swing and stuff like that, which is also determined by your stamina, endurance, or whatever. But yeah, strength is pretty important in this game, more important than it was. Skill is the same thing as dexterity. You're going to want to level that up if you're planning on using light weapons that swing fast but do less damage over the heavier weapons. Then you have Blood Tinge. Now this one's new as well. In this game you're going to be using guns and certain weapons that use a special skill called Blood Tinge. So think of Blood Tinge as leveling up the strength of your guns and certain weapons that scale off of Blood Tinge. Finally, we have Arcane. Now, Arcane is basically your magic. While there's not a whole lot of magic in this game, there is some. So if you are planning on, using some magic or enchanting your weapons with magic, you want to level up Arcane. Now the weapon scaling is a little bit different in this game, and I'll go into that a little bit later, not to confuse you guys right now. So basically, kind of determine, what kind of build you want to play, and choose, one that best fits you, where the stats are the highest in that specific category. So if you're having trouble deciding and you don't really know, what you want to do, I would always recommend starting off with high health, because that never hurts anything. Also, it's going to be quite a while before you can level up. So having high health will also help you out there. So for me, I'm going to go with the Violent Past. That's just about, one of the better starting classes, even for beginners as well, just because of the high vitality and strength, also endurance. Them things are pretty important. And it's not too bad with skill either. Another good recommendation would probably be professional or military veteran. And that's just if you're going with, physical damage, weapons. If you're trying to, enchant your weapons with magic, you're going to want to go with something with high arcane, such as Cruel Fate, which also has decent vitality, endurance, strength, and skill. It's kind of even. Waste of Skin is like the deprived class in Dark Souls. You start out at a lower level, and yeah, you're basically making it harder on yourself. Although if you plan on leveling it up, it could be useful. But alright, with all that out of the way, I'm picking the Violent Path. You can also change your appearance. Not going to go into details really.
Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
You found yourself a hunter.
Alright, after the creepy introduction, you'll be in Iosefka's clinic. Iosefka, however you say it. There's going to be a lot of stuff I can't really pronounce in this game, but just bear with me. For right now, there's nothing you can really do. Weapons. So for now, just head over to the door and make at the bottom of the steps, just through the second doorway, you'll find your first enemy, which is a rather tough enemy. You can lock on by pressing down on the right analog stick. And also, something to note in this game, you can't block, so you're going to want to do dodging. And a pro tip, instead of not locking on, because when you don't lock on, you go to dodge, you do a roll. So rolls are kind of good in certain situations, but moreover, they're kind of clumsy in this game. Notice that when I lock on and go to dodge, it's much more fluent and smooth. So that's the first tip, and it's very useful. I didn't find that out until a good 20-30 minutes of playing on my first playthrough. So yeah, make sure you lock on. It makes dodging so much more easier. And you're supposed to actually die to this guy. You'll see why. But if you want to practice your dodging and attacking, you attack with R1. So if you want to practice your maneuvering and stuff, you can do that before actually giving in to this guy. Kill me. Alright, so as you wake up, you will be in an area known as the Hunter's Dream. Think of this as your safe haven. This is where you're going to come to do all of your upgrades, your levels up, and all that good stuff. So if you want to get familiar with the area, you can. There's nothing really back in this direction except for notes on the ground that you can read. For the basics of combat, which are pretty helpful because it's a little bit different than Dark Souls. And I'll get into every specific thing here in a minute. But for now, you want to take note of the Path Messenger over here on the left. This is where you're going to trade in your blood echoes or souls to buy weapons. There's also a doll here that you can use to level up, although we can't level up right this second. So go ahead and climb the stairs and open the doors. Oh, they're closed. At the top of the steps, you can pick up the notebook. There we go. You want to talk to the little messengers, and they will let you choose between one of the 3 starting weapons. Now this is kind of like your sword, you know. The Saw Cleaver is average. It's got great speed, decent damage. The Hunter's Axe is a heavy weapon that does heavy damage, but it's a little bit slower. And the Threaded Cane is the fastest, but does the least amount of damage. So take your pick. Personally, I like the Saw Cleaver. And then check the second messengers, and you can choose between your left-handed weapon, which is going to be your guns. So you have the Hunter Pistol or the Hunter Blunderbuss. Now the pistol is good, but the Blunderbuss has a wider range and makes it easy to parry. Because another tip, guns don't do too much damage in this game, no matter how high you level up the skill Blood Tinge, which will increase the damage for guns slightly, but still they're not made for doing heavy damage. They're made for counter-attacking. Since there's no block, if you shoot an enemy right when he's about to attack you, you can stun him. So hint, the Blunderbuss is a lot better because it has a wider range. So I usually start off with that. Alright, so once you have your weapons, you can go ahead and equip them. Still can't get in. Nice. And then you can go to the Yarnum Stone and awaken at the first floor sick room again. And that's going to conclude the introduction to Bloodborne. I'll see you guys on the next episode where we get into some action and start killing some enemies.